Today, we're going to talk about why you should move your best salesperson to the service department. From the sales department to the service department. You might think that's crazy, but wait till you hear me explain it, because I probably will change your mind. We talk about Christian's brush with death.
Fair, very fair.
And diesel engines and much, much more coming up on this edition of Service Drive Revolution. So I was up in Washington at the lake house with my parents.
Is this the start to a joke?
No.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
And so my stepdad needs a truck, like a new truck. He has a Ford currently, but the Ford won't pull the boat out. Oh,
it doesn't have enough oomph?
No.
Okay.
So we're pulling the boat out with the Jeep, like this old Jeep Wrangler, four speed, like still manual.
Oh, yeah.
Super fun to drive.
Is that like an 80s?
Yeah, and it's like square.
Yeah, so like an old Jeep Cherokee.
Great in the snow. Great, so fun. So he wants a new truck. So I was like, those, the Dodge trucks are great.
And the Ram?
The Jeep truck, the Gladiator.
Yeah.
And because I had the Gladiator, he rode in it when I had it.
That thing rode so much better than I expected.
By the way, I gave that Gladiator away to Amanda, who was the manager
of the year.
That's
right.
And I wanted to keep it. I didn't want to give it away.
You got way more attached than you thought you were going to.
I did. I really liked it. Now I wouldn't trade it for the Range Rover, but so I told him, I said, hey, you should go drive the Gladiator and the Dodge. So, the other thing is I said, what about the Ford Lightning? And what do you think they said?
Heck no.
They're not even, they think so my parents think that electric cars are like a trend that they have no interest in. They said, we don't want to learn any new technology. We don't want to deal with that. Which I think more people feel that way, I think, than we think.
Yeah, people thought that about power windows too.
They did?
I don't know. I
don't know. I always wanted power windows.
They're kind of fun.
Yeah. So they're not open to it. They're not open to the Ford Lightning, even though he's kind of a Ford guy.
Do you think they represent a lot of people that think that way?
I do.
So that poses a little bit of an issue for like a Ford or a GM as they try to break into that electric segment, because there's something like apple pie in America about a diesel engine or a gas engine, right?
Wow, those diesel engines in those Dodges get good gas mileage. They go forever. They're just well built. I don't know. I'm a fan of them personally. And if you put the diesel in the Gladiator, that's a pretty good combination.
Oh, I wonder if they have that.
They do.
Do they?
Oh, that's my story. So we were going to look at the diesel Gladiator. So I've been on the lake all day.
Jet skiing
and swimming and
nice.
Whatever. And so we get to the dealership out there, and so this dealership has Ford and Dodge, Jeep together, I think.
Smaller store?
Maybe Chrysler. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's tiny out there. Yeah. It's small. So maybe the showroom is like a couple hundred square feet. There's no vehicles in the showroom.
Okay, so just desks.
Got it. Cubicles. So, by the way, I haven't heard from the salesman since, and we're talking about weeks ago. I haven't heard anything from him.
That's funny.
No, it's not. It's typical.
What's your follow-up like? I don't have any.
Yeah.
None.
Which is so weird because I did not expect that. Like, I gave him my cell phone number. I was like, call me. Now, the thing is, and I wanted to ask you, I guess there's a recall on those, so they can't sell the diesel Gladiators until the recall is fulfilled.
Okay, so it's a stop sale.
So you would think he would call me and tell me like, hey, I don't know or whatever, but nobody's called me. So I was going to ask you, do we know anybody that we could get a diesel Gladiator from?
I can ask. I didn't know there was a diesel Gladiator until this conversation.
No, I know. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
Can we ship him one? I really think that's what he should have. I'm standing there. So this is the thing, right? I wanted to get in and out of this dealership. I just wanted him to see it or whatever. My mom is the biggest pain when it comes to this sort of stuff because she's so funny. She's got to ask all the questions. She thinks that buying a car is a sport. Like, she loves it. She wants to walk to the curb and throw a tantrum, and like she wants them to beg her to come back, and she's already starting with that.
Oh, interesting.
We can't afford that, and like, oh, it's painful to watch. My mom's that person that you hope. I always in the back of my head had like setting up a system in sales where even my mom couldn't like turn it into a street fight, you know?
Yeah.
So I was just like, hey, can they drive it? I just want them to drive it really quick and then let me know if it comes off the recall, or if you can find one, or, just let me know. And so they couldn't drive the diesel because it's a recall. They had them there, but you couldn't drive them. So they drove a gas one. They drove it around the block. So I'm standing there in the sun. It's like 90 degrees. And I'm standing there, and a couple of the techs are in front. And the guy goes, hey, don't I know you? And I said, I went to this high school out there.
No, that's not it.
No, that's not it. And I go, I don't know, a bunch of things. He goes, no, I know you from somewhere. I just can't put my finger on it. I thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah, that is pretty funny.
He's probably listening to this going, I knew it.
You were right. Your suspicions.
Yeah.
Your intuition.
It was pretty funny. I was just embarrassed to say who I was because my mom
had done
it's so funny. I'm 51. My mom can make me feel like I'm 13 again.
Yeah.
It's the funniest thing. Like, you're just like, Mom, would you please cut it out? Like, just be nice. They're not the enemy.
Yeah.
They're just trying to get through their day. Like, geez Louise. She thinks everything in the buying a car or a truck is a sport. Like, she gears up for it.
She's like doing her little mental exercises before you guys get there.
Oh, that's hilarious. Great. I got the jet skis up to 50.
That feels pretty crazy, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. It goes 70, but I can't imagine.
Yeah, I was guessing that 45 to 50 was your comfort zone.
You know what I do is so the sun up there in the summer comes up like around 4:30. I'm on the lake by like 5 by myself.
Yeah, you sent me a picture and it was like the most serene looking picture. That was that early, wasn't it?
Yeah, there's no wind. It's just like glass and nobody's out there. I'm sure they think I'm nuts because I'm cranking the stereo. The stereo on those jet skis is really fun. I made a playlist.
You made me a great playlist for my trip.
Oh yeah, so tell everybody about your trip. So Christian rented an RV.
Third year in a row, actually. So this has definitely become a tradition of sorts.
Had no problems with it, right?
Nope.
No issues. Ran like a champ.
Nope. As opposed to year one where it duct taped everything on the.
Yeah, you had some technical difficulties, and maybe you're not as handy as the average person. Yeah, I would say I'm less than the average person in terms of handiness, but definitely had a great trip. Saw the Grand Canyon. A huge hole. Went to New Mexico for a little bit just to get a coffee cup. The Starbucks cup?
Yeah.
Christian does this thing wherever we go. Sometimes it's cute, sometimes it's super annoying.
I remember Kentucky being really annoying for you.
Kentucky?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was probably.
And then didn't they have that same cup at the airport?
Yeah, I think so.
So we go to the Starbucks because Starbucks does these regional coffee cups that you can only get in that region, I guess, right?
And that's the fun of it for me, is saying that.
So you go all the way to New Mexico just to get a coffee cup. I know people in New Mexico that would have sent you one.
I could have definitely gotten a coffee cup, but there's just something to going to get it. But yeah, that made number 44.
Nice.
So I've got a pretty nice collection.
You're trying to go to all 50 states, right?
Yeah, I've got 7 more to go to, states-wise. I think you've done all 50, so I'm only 7 states behind you.
So tell everybody what you saw on your trip in the RV, how you almost died.
Oh, yeah, so we went to this place that had, I don't know how else to describe it other than a drive-through zoo.
Yeah.
And you go through there, and there's you, your RV, windows, and then bears and wolves. There's no fence or anything like that to keep these animals from you, but that's kind of the beauty of it. I literally drove past a bison, and if I just put my arm out the window, I could have touched the thing. So that was a pretty neat experience for my son. He really enjoyed that a lot. Actually, the office gave Raylan a whatever today's version of the Polaroid cameras are, and he's just there snapping pictures the whole time, not thinking that there's a bear 5 feet from him, and just completely fearless. Like a glass window is going to be gonna stop everything. If that thing got really mad and had its intentions, it was coming in.
Were you thinking that, or were you? I mean, clearly they wouldn't have you driving through there if these animals were aggressive.
No, they weren't aggressive at all. As a matter of fact, they were super lazy. But I think that you kind of do where you're going and something like that, and you have your family with you, the protection mechanisms on in the back of your head. So, but there's never once where it was a worry.
Let's just really quick stop for a second and talk about the fact, how crowded was it there?
It was pretty crowded.
People are driving this summer.
The Grand Canyon was packed.
Ever.
Yeah.
They are in their cars going on road trips more than ever. My buddy works for the Park Service. They are constantly at capacity. Constantly.
I believe that.
And what does that mean for service departments?
That they're going to be busy.
And what happens if somebody's from out of town and they break down and you're booked out 3 weeks?
You get them in, you fix it, and have them write a nice Google review for you.
Have you ever heard the saying, he who has the text wins?
Once.
This is that time. People are driving more than ever.
Which is smart, because every time there's an airport issue or we're on a plane, we're getting delayed. Or
weren't we just watching a thing that Disneyland is down, and people are going camping, they're going road trips.
Yeah, they're getting out to nature.
Yeah.
I'm super happy I did it. I could do it again next year.
Well, you probably will.
Yeah.
Because what is this, 3 in a row?
Yeah, next year before. So I keep saying that I know there's a time where
it's like an absolute nightmare to me.
Yeah, so it's definitely not your thing. It's my thing, but I know there's going to come a time where my son isn't going to think that's fun. So I'm just soaking it up for as long as I can.
Well, yeah,
because it's really
good
cool
for him.
Yeah,
it's good for him to see the outdoors, to see America.
Beautiful. Well, the thing that
is there anything better than
not
our
much.
country?
No,
you can go. There's so many different worlds you experience in just like a 2-day drive.
Yeah, we try to make it educational, and he has to pick the spots we're going to go to. So he picked the Grand Canyon last year, actually, was where the main place we were going. But then I bought a travel book of Arizona, and I'm like, okay, pick 5 or 6 spots that you want to go to, do the research. And so I try to make it educational too. So
I love Wyoming.
Wyoming's, I think, one of the prettiest places in the United States.
Jackson Hole, Wyoming is magical. When you sit there and you're just looking around and the mountains are on all sides.
Yeah, it's postcard-like. It almost doesn't seem real.
And people are so nice.
Yeah.
That's the thing that I always have to get used to when I go back to Washington when I'm up there. Because I don't know what the population... Well, the population of the nearest town is 70,000. And that's like... That town exists in a Walmart and basically a grocery store called Fred Meyer's.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the town.
And the Walmart's like a social center, I would assume, right?
Well, the pharmacy is. There's a lot of people there getting their pills, which is crazy how unhealthy people are up there. It's just crazy to me. Like, even like just checking out at Walmart, it's just the funniest thing. Like there was a fire up there on 4th of July. And she goes, "Did you see the fire?" And we're like, "Yeah, we're pretty close to it." She's like, "Oh, yeah." She goes, do you know the Banner fire last year or whatever? And I'm like, "No." She goes, "Well, my son lives up there." And I go, "Oh, did he get evacuated?" She goes, "No." I'm like, "What was this?" "Oh, yeah, he's fine."
He made it.
Like, well, why are we talking about the banner phone?
It's
It's like
funny.
they're so nice. It's the funniest thing.
Yeah. You know what doesn't get talked about enough in the news? Cannibals.
Cannibals?
Yeah.
Like where people eat people?
Yeah. So I got a question for you. What did the cannibal get when he was late for dinner? You know how I feel about people being late. He got the cold shoulder.
That's pretty good. What's in the news, Chris Jones?
So we got a couple of different things. Ironically, Ford is in the news because they just cut their prices on the electric F-150, the F-150 Lightning. Some models by as much as $10,000, which I thought was really interesting because that's following suit. Tesla a few weeks ago had a price decrease because they were trying to hit like there's a tax credit that you can get, and there's some certain qualifiers that the thing had to do, but they'd increase the price many times on the F-150 Lightning because of cost of supplies for the batteries and all the materials and everything like that, which I thought was really interesting. So then I read a little bit further into this, and it kind of supports your story, but you want to take a guess at how many Ford Lightning trucks were sold? And I'll put this into perspective for you in a second. In the second quarter of 2023, how many F-150 Lightnings do you think were sold?
So they sell, what do they sell? Like 800,000 trucks in a year?
Probably.
And so that's 200,000 a
Quarter. Yeah.
So I'm going to guess that the Lightnings are 50,000 of that.
Okay.
So 50,000 Ford Lightnings sold.
So they sold 4,466.
Ooh.
Which sounds like, oh, people aren't buying the electric cars or electric trucks, which is
Ouch.
what you kind of suggested. And just putting that into perspective, guess how many Teslas got sold in the second quarter of 2020?
Oh, some crazy amount.
466,104.
Tesla might sell 2 million cars this year.
Yeah, they got an outside chance, but I definitely.
But the Lightnings are on the ground.
The Lightnings are on the ground
Because days supply is increasing, right?
Yes, I could probably just match that right into the next story because new vehicle inventories are up to 1.95 million.
Which means how many days supply is that?
So there's two different metrics that I want to give you on this. One is that overall the average days supply is 53. Now,
so almost at 2 months.
Yeah, but they've got a specific days supply on electric vehicles.
And that's lower or higher?
Higher, much higher. Almost double. 103. So over a 3-month supply.
And that's not just Ford, that's everybody?
That's everybody.
Yeah. I don't think a lot of the country is up for the electric thing like we think. People aren't just going to adopt it. Like, it was funny, we went to dinner the other night. I don't know, you weren't there. Why weren't you there? I don't know, but it was down here. And at the valet, this guy comes up to me and he goes, "Oh, I love your Range Rover." And I was telling him how I wrapped it after Tyson Fury's. Like, I did Tyson Fury's camouflage wrap, but just in blue.
Right.
And he was like, "Oh, yeah, I've seen that before." Because Tyson Fury's Rover is kind of famous because he parks in handicap spots. If you don't know who Tyson Fury is, he's a boxer from England.
Yeah.
So in England, by the way, he's driving on the wrong side of the vehicle over there.
On purpose?
They sell it that way over there.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And the guy was going, "Oh, I just got the new one." And I was like, "How is it?" He goes, "Don't get the hybrid. Don't get the hybrid." And he goes, "It's terrible." And I think people are... this electric car thing is being forced on people. They didn't ask for it.
Yeah, I think that there's definitely a thing where there's Tesla and then there's electric cars. And no one's forcing Tesla on anybody, but the other stuff, those manufacturers feel like they have to get into this game just to compete with them.
Because of China.
Yeah.
So China is like 2026, you can't sell
full electric.
a combustion engine.
That's right.
So Volkswagen, like, these guys sell. So China's twice as many new cars as we.
Yeah, wasn't it you that told me that a lot of the manufacturers sell more in China than they do here in the States?
Yeah.
So they're playing to that, not to the US, but
well, if you're building a factory, so they think, okay, we're building a factory. It's more expensive in the beginning to build these factories for electric cars, but it's less parts. In the end, it should be cheaper to build these cars once they have the momentum and the volume.
right, and that's just the part they're missing right now.
But if you have 100 and something day supply, you don't have you're not gaining the volume to lower the price.
Right.
It's going to be interesting. The problem is Tesla is so far out ahead of everybody. I know we hear that, but it's right in front of our face that they're so far out ahead of everybody that it's not even fair.
Yeah. Well, I love the concept of the F-150 Lightning. The fact that in the marketing that they did with it, where it can generate it can power your house if the power goes out. Like there's some cool stuff. I don't know why it didn't.
I wanted my mom to get it because it can power the house.
Yeah.
So if their power goes out, they live in the
plug it into the truck.
Instead of having to put a generator on the house, the the Lightning serves as that generator.
Yes.
Not interested. Not interested.
So you think that's because of Tesla? Is put that negative towards certain parts of the population where there's a negative viewpoint on electric?
They don't have a negative viewpoint of Tesla. They rode in my Tesla, and my stepdad's a car guy, so he's riding in the fastest production car. I sent him pictures of my buddy's Ferrari that he got, and he's a huge fan of cars, and so the idea that Tesla is faster than the Ferrari, and it's all exciting to him because he's a car guy. Yep. He liked riding in it. I think the idea of plugging it in, and then the one thing that they said is we don't want to learn the new technology, which it isn't.
I didn't feel like it was overly different.
No, but to them, being older, they just aren't up for it.
Okay.
There's a perception. I don't think this is America. Like,
oh, there's just
you tell me to wear a mask, I don't want to wear a mask.
Yeah. And there's Americana to big truck with an S engine.
Yeah. The diesel, there's just something about it.
I have respect for the diesel engine and all its dirty glory.
Meanwhile, hottest summer in recorded history, which means more cars and trucks are breaking. He who has the technicians wins.
That's right. Just to bring that back.
Can we get to the main topic? Because I'm excited about this.
It's incendiary.
Move your top salesperson to your service department.
What?
Tomorrow, walk out and go, Tom, you're moving to service. You're going from being a salesperson to an advisor.
It's crazy pants.
Why is it crazy pants?
Because they're the salesperson.
Listen, did you see the Berkshire Hathaway 3-hour
Warren
Q&A with Warren and Charlie Munger?
Yeah.
So they were asked something about the car business. Now, Berkshire Hathaway they bought Van Tile.
Yes, they got a bunch of dealerships.
High-performing dealerships. Van Tile, knows how to sell cars, right? And so they're familiar with our business. They're vested in it. They have a mark, they have a share of the market when it comes to it. So they are posed with the question, what is going to happen with the car business? Where is the car business headed? And Buffett says, I know where Apple's going to be in 5 or 10 years. I have no idea where the car business is going to be in 5 or 10 years. Which is true. We don't know where the sales department in the car business is going to be in 5 to 10 years.
Which is what everybody thinks about when they hear the word car business.
So we don't know. We know that Tesla is going to direct to consumer. We know that the manufacturers want to do that. We know they're going to want to do it more than ever. Now that dealers are going to be pushing back on inventory levels. Interest rates are up. Car sales are going to slow down. Used cars are going to see some sort of correction the other way in value. We know all of that is going to happen. The Fed is going to force that on the marketplace no matter what, because they want inflation to come down. Cars are a huge part of the economy, and they're big numbers. Here's the other thing that we know. It doesn't matter if it's gas. It doesn't matter if it's electric. They break. They also need tires and brakes and other things. Service isn't going anywhere.
Captive audience.
So
sure.
I don't know. You're right, Mr. Buffett. I don't know where the new car department's going to be in 5 or 10 years. I do know that the service department is going to be in demand, is going to be the main profit center of the dealership and the heart and soul. And so move your top salesperson to the service department now. And let me go through the lists, the reasons why.
And just before you do that, just a guess here, but I'm going to ask this anyway. Which service departments will be the ones that win?
The ones that have the technicians.
Oh, okay. Just checking.
We better start. We better learn how to
grow them, train them,
like
cloning,
make them like it.
Yep. Attracting new people to the business. All that stuff.
Top salesperson. You were in sales. What is the real value of a good salesperson?
Okay, so I hope I get this right, but I'm going to say in our terms, the ability to collect customers.
Yeah, relationships. They have equity in the marketplace because they have relationships. And if they're your top salesperson, they have a lot of repeat and referrals, right? A lot of people are coming back to them over and over again. They've been around for a while, right? So they have relationships. What's the number one thing that you need in service?
Ability to build a relationship and trust.
Yep. So that's an easy thing to get your head around, right? The next one I have is, in business, you constantly want to do an inventory of where your leverage is and what assets you have to put that leverage behind.
Right.
Your biggest leverage in the future is going to be the service department and your relationships with your customers. If they can go directly on the internet and buy a vehicle, it's the after relationship, because the vehicle purchase is more now becoming less and less personal and more of a transaction.
Right.
It's more of a, hey, I built it online and I ordered it, versus, hey, I'm going to go down and see my buddy Christian.
I was going to say that I think that's been happening for a long time, even excluding the electric thing.
So I want to put my leverage, right, and my assets in position strategically to have the best chance of total world domination, in a sense. So the people that have the relationships, that are the best salespeople, my best talent, I want to move to the service department, because that's where the future is.
That's why the pitcher doesn't bat cleanup.
Yeah. Most of the time, those salespeople are better at relationships. They're better at sales. They're probably better at running a team of technicians.
Yeah, they just don't know it yet, right?
Yeah, but I would say a lot of those salespeople would have better relationships with the technicians than the advisors that are duds. Mm-hmm. Right?
100%.
Yeah.
Easy, yes.
Okay, and the last one that I have on my list, which I think brings this all full circle and makes one very cohesive point: they can still sell cars. Make it easier for them to sell cars.
Yeah.
If it's easy for the customer to buy a car online, make it easy for them to sell a customer a car, and they can still write service. But I would say the future is the most talent, those salespeople are going to have a portfolio of customers that they're going to manage, and they're going to handle service. They're going to handle the car purchase. They're going to be like a concierge more than anything else.
That's so smart. And what a great opportunity for a salesperson.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's
better
really
hours.
It's the best of both worlds, but with better hours, right? No Saturdays till midnight and all that other stuff, right? So,
which nobody wants to do that anymore, anyways.
Yeah.
But my mom wants to go in there at 11 o'clock on a Saturday because she'll say $13.84. She wants and then at 11:45 she wants to go, nope, I'm not taking that deal, and then walk out and then have them chase her. Oh, she loves that. It's a sport to her.
Yeah.
But that's not the future. The future is that it's going to be very transparent. It's going to be, way more transactional. And the best talent should be in the position of the highest leverage, and the salespeople can make more money. They can have a better quality of life because the sales thing is going to change. We know that it's going to change. Everybody knows that.
That's right.
So why not put it where we know the biggest leverage is?
Yep.
What do you think about that?
I think
what
it's
are your
great.
thoughts?
You could make.
Is it controversial?
Well, I think some people would think that it's not possible until you come up with your last thing, which I really like about the whole, you can still sell cars and be a service advisor. So I really thought that was neat. One thing I would also say is that I'd be really looking to hedge my bets in parts, and their talented counter people are just as vital as talented advisors. So I think that making sure both sides of that department are a fixed ops are operating with the best talent. And I really like the idea of quality of life for a salesperson, because I think if there was one thing that I had to say as a negative, it was crazy hours. You didn't go till the customers left. So it kind of provides them with a little more structure. Now, as a 30, 40 car salesperson a month, you were never really worried about the volatile income, because you might sell 28, you might sell 34, but the income was pretty steady. But I think that this is definitely the way of the future. And if you own a dealership right now, you should be thinking about that talent transfer to the backside.
Yeah, we're going to go through a situation here where prices are going to drop again, and the salespeople aren't going to be making the sort of money that they were, and the volume isn't going to be there.
Yeah.
And so to retain that talent, it might be a good idea to start thinking about moving.
Yeah, because if you run your service department, right, you make decent money and you can afford to pay.
Still sell a car.
That's right.
It's about relationships. It's not about what they're actually doing.
I love it.
Cool. Well, think about it. We appreciate you tuning in, and we will see you next time on Service Drive Revolution. Thanks so much for watching this episode of Service Drive Revolution. We're uploading new stuff every day, so make sure you subscribe and click the bell icon so you don't miss out. If you have a question you'd like us to answer on the show, call 8333-ASK-SDR and we'll answer your question on the show. That's 8333-ASK-SDR. For special deals on our books and training, head over to offers.chriscollinsinc.com. Now that's offers.chriscollinsinc.com. I'm Chris Collins, and I'll see you in the next video.